Hello students, I hope you understand yesterday lecture of data handling in which we discussed pictograph and bar graph. The definition of these two graphs, that is the definition of pictograph and bar graph, and few example related to these two type of graph. Now today we discuss further two topics of data handling. First is double bar graph and second is frequency distribution table. Using the definitions, first understand the definitions, then with the help of a few examples I'll give you brief introduction and the explanation of these two, and after that we go for the further topics.
Now students, let us understand next bar graph, that is double bar graph. Alright, what is the definition of the double bar graph? A bar graph showing two sets of data simultaneously. It is used for the comparison of the data. Means this bar graph is used for the comparison of the data. That is two sets of data simultaneously. That is together we can use the bar graph to show the data. So let us see this example that give you a good information about the double bar graph. In this example, as you can see, this is x-axis and this is y-axis. This we have to draw on the graph paper. Now see, in this double bar graph you can see that everywhere with every subject, here are on x-axis the subject are to be shown: mathematics, social science, science, English and Hindi are shown. Now when we show these subjects, what are these bars shown? Now you can see here, now it is given that the blank bar show the 2005 to 2006. Alright, and what about this? These are the subjects as it is written here na, that x-axis shows you the subject and right axis and y-axis show you marks obtained by the student. So this bar graph is basically used for the comparison of the marks obtained by the students in different year, in 2005 to 6 and 6 to 7. Now 2005 to 6 marks are of different subject are shown by blank bars, and 2006 to 7 year marks are shown by the shaded bars. So all the shaded bars are shown in all the subjects, but those shaded bars are shown the marks in 2006 and 7, and all the blank bars show the marks in 2005 to 6. So let us understand one by one. Suppose we just talk about the maths. So in 2005 and 6, marks of the students are up to 30. Alright, but in 2006 to 7, marks of a student is 60. So marks are improved. Alright, so this graph is used for the comparison of same subjects in two different years. Similarly, for social science, in 2005 to 6, marks are 50. The numbers we have to consider from the y-axis. And for the 2006 to 7 year, you can see here marks are in between 50 to 60. That is approximately 55. For exact calculation, that's why we use the graph paper. Similarly, suppose I ask you a question about this bar graph, that in which subjects marks are almost equal in both the years. No improvement, nothing is the decrease of the marks happen. Then what happened in which subjects? See here, you can see Hindi marks. Hindi marks in 2005 and 6 are as maintained as in 2006 and 7. So in Hindi subjects, marks, there is no change in marks in both the years. So we can see here, we can see that there is a growth of marks in maths, growth of marks in science, and growth of marks in social science as well as in science. But in English, marks decrease. See, in 2005 to 6, marks are more than 2006 to 7. So it is very much clear that shaded portion give us the marks of 2006 to 7 years, and blank portion give us marks for 2005 to 6. So by using double bar graph, we can compare the 2-year marks. Similarly, we can compare the height of the students in 1 year and 2nd year. Similarly, different company use these double bar graphs to represent their growth in 1 year and growth in 2nd year. There are so many data which can be represented using the double bar graph. So it is very useful for the comparing of the data. Now, this is the example of double bar graph in which what happened here, weight in kilograms of some fruit sold in 2 different days in local market. In day 1 is represented by this block, that is golden color, and the day 2 defined by this gray color. Alright, so these 2 colors of bars show you the different days for the sale of the fruits. Alright, this is for day 1 and this is for day 2. Now we are going to compare for the 3 different fruits, that is papaya, apple and orange. So x-axis represent here only fruits and y-axis represent here weight in kilograms of the fruit. These are the weight in kilogram. Now how we show this double bar, on the bar graph paper, it is the line for the 0. Alright, now it is 1 unit, then 10 unit. See the scale here. 1 unit length, it is equal to 10 kilograms. So after covering one block, one dark line when come here for using 3 light lines, we get 1 unit. 1 unit is a square in which length and breadth are equal, or the complete paper is distributed into small units. So 1 unit is equal to 10 kg here. It is 1 unit and we consider this as 10 kg. So half of this is 5 kg. So 1 unit 10 kg, then up to second unit 20 kg, then 30, then 40. You must take equal gap on the y-axis and for the x-axis. Now come towards the papaya, apple and oranges. Now here papaya on first day, how much sold for the papaya? It is 15 kg. And what about for the on the second day, that is 20 kg. For the apples, on first day, the sale of apple is 50 kg and sale of apple on the second day is 49 kg. Similarly, for oranges, on day 1, you can see this is the bar for the day 1. So, when you draw this on the graph paper, now you must equally distribute everything on the graph paper. For day 1, 42 kg sold for oranges and 30 kg sold for the second day. So by using this type of graph, we can compare that how much fruit is sold on one day, how much fruit is sold on second day. Suppose I want to calculate how much fruit is sold on first day. So I have to add first day fruit, that is 15 plus 50 plus 42. Or I want to calculate the total fruit sold for second day. So I am going to add 20 plus 49 plus 30 and so on. Or I want to know how much oranges are sold on second day, that is 30 kg. So many information I get from the double bar graph. Basically this is for the comparison. Now you can tell me from this which fruit is more sold on the second day. You can see here for the papaya sold more as compared to first day. Now what about apples? Apples are approximately equal sale, 50 or 49, approximately equal sale. But here oranges are less sold on second day as compared to first day. So we can compare so many things using double bar graph. Now students, our next topic is to organization of the data, organizing and grouping of the data. Basically why we organize the data? Actually data is available to us in an unorganized form, which is called the raw data. So to interpret it and to draw some meaningful conclusions, it need to be arranged systematically. It is very important when we observe the data, we must arrange the data in a systematic order. Only then we can find out the frequencies and ready the data for the different kind of observations. So this is unorganized data and this is a proper organized data that give the shape of some conclusions.
Now we will study to arrange the data in tabular form, that is called frequency distribution table. Suppose a group of 30 students were asked for their favorite star. The results were as listed below. Now if the question is to find the most liked and the least liked star, for this we arrange the data in tabular form as shown. This table is called frequency distribution table. This method for representing raw data gives the correct information of data without any complication of reading the data.
Now students, understand this example. As this data is given in very unorganized form, wherever the name is required that is written, but we organize this data in the tabular form. We must select some form to represent the data. Now to represent this data, how many stars are observed? Only 5 stars are observed. Abhishek Bachchan, Shah Rukh Khan, Amir Khan, Salman Khan and Hrithik Roshan. Only 5 stars are used in this data. Now we want to know that who is the most likely or unlikely star in above data. Now we have to arrange this in the tabular form. Tabular form in which we use the tally marks. This we have already studied in 6th as well as in 7th class. How we write the tally marks and how the number of students who like or not like the stars. Now favorite stars are, suppose Abhishek Bachchan. We talk about Abhishek Bachchan. See, in this data, this is the first name, that is Abhishek Bachchan. How many times the name of Abhishek Bachchan is written by the students? 1. Then come towards next. You first see the first row. Only 1. Next. Then observe the second row. In this way, you just calculate how many times the name. See, here is the name. In third row, we get the name of Abhishek Bachchan. One more time. 1 and 1, 2. So we have to put 2 lines. Next. So it is not to calculate here. Just write one line for one name at a time. One straight line, or you can write one, and then for second time when a name of Abhishek Bachchan came, in third row you write one more line. That is called the tally marks. Alright. Now see the fourth row. No. here are 5. In the 5th row, in the last, the name of Abhishek Bachchan is written. So Abhishek Bachchan name is here for 3 times. 3 students like Abhishek Bachchan, 1, 2 and 3. So we place 3 lines that are called tally marks, and then count these lines and write in the numerical form. This is the numerical format, and these are the tally marks. Alright, similarly for the Shah Rukh Khan, for the Amir Khan, for the Salman Khan, and so on. You can observe one by one from first row, from second row. Like in first row, Shah Rukh Khan name comes 2 times, so you put 2 lines. Then in second row, 1, 2, again 2 times, place to 1 row. Now this is the cross line. Cross line is used for the number 5. When 4 lines straight line occur, you must cross 1 line using the 5th one. Then after 5, you must calculate next 6 by the next straight line. So in this way we can write tally marks, and by counting the tally marks we write down the number of the students. Actually this is the frequency. Frequency means how many times the name of any star come used by the student. From this we can find out so many questions based upon this tabular form. Now students, see some observation from this tabular form. First, Shah Rukh Khan is likely most among students. 9 out of 30 students like him. This is the first observation we get from this tabular form. Next, Abhishek Bachchan is like least among the students. Only out of 30 students, 3 like him. Alright, so such kind of observations, so many questions we can get, so many answers we can get from such kind of tabular form. But this is an organized data. Only then we can find out some conclusions. And see here, Amir Khan, Salman Khan and Hrithik Roshan are liked 7, 5 and 6 students respectively. Now students, see one more example. In the given frequency table, the number of students whose favorite activity is games. You can give the answer of this question easily by observing this table, because this is an organized data. See the favorite activity of the students: dance, games, music and computer. How many students like dance? See in tally marks only 3 students. What about games? These symbols represent the 5 number of students, 5 and 1, 6. Music 2 students, computer 4 students. So in this, which activity is most likely? Most of the students, what is the favorite activity of the student? That is games, because the maximum student like games. So our answer is 6 students which like games. This is the question, how many students like games? We get 6 students like games. Now students, next are the grouping of the data. Why we make groups for the given data? Understand this term. Sometime, however, we deal with the large data, large number of data is there. For example, consider the following marks out of 50. The marks are given out of 50 obtained in mathematics by the 60 students. Now these marks are given for the 60 students of class 8. Now see here, the marks may be 21, 10, some student get 30, 22, 33, 5, 37 and so on. Up to for the 60 students we must give the marks. Now what happened here? Understand the term. If I give every number for in the tabular form, for 32 I give 1 row, for next for 18, next for 27, it's so lengthy to organize this kind of data. So if we make the frequency distribution table for each observation, then the table would be too long. So for convenience, we make group of observations. So in place of given 0 in a different row, 1 in a different row, 2 in a different row, up to 50 we get, because our maximum marks are 50 for 60 students. So we make groups of observation, say 0 to 10. Suppose we told about the 0 to 10. Now I want to know how many students are occur between the 0 to 10 marks. Next 10 to 20. Now the data is arranged in this way, but but not so long. So data can be arranged easily and observation can be done, and so on. So obtain a frequency distribution of number of observation. In this method, if we do, that's why group is important for such kind of long data. Now students, see the organized data. When we organize the data in such a form, this is frequency distribution table. Now in this case, the groups are used. The numbers are not given. If we do not give the groups, then we have to use 0, then 1, then 2, then 3. So many numbers in the form. Alright, there are 50 such kind of numbers. But here we are using the groups. So how many students have marks between 0 to 10? Only 2 students. Alright. But so in place of 10 columns, 10 columns are made. We have in one column we can give how many students? Only 2 students. Between 10 to 20 we have 10 students. Between 20 to 30, 21. These are the frequency number of students. Always remember the total frequency is equal to the given number of students or the given frequency, that is 60. We have 60 students now. These are the marks, range of the marks, and these are the number of students. See here, data represent in this manner is said to be grouped data, and the distribution obtained is called grouped frequency distribution. So by using these two things, group and its frequency, we can form a graph using these two data, and that kind of graph is known as histogram here. Alright, so see, we can give the answer of such kind of questions. Most of the students score between 20 to 40. How many students get the marks between 20 to 30? That is 21. Between 30 to 40, 19. So many observation we can get from this kind. This is very useful frequency distribution table and help to draw the histogram. One more thing you must understand for this table, students. There are the equal gap between the group. You can see the range are equal 0 to 10. What is the width of this interval or gap of this interval? 10. Again 10 to 20. 10 is the gap between 20 and 10. 20 to 30. This is called the range or the width of the interval that must be equal. Alright, that is the difference between last limit. This is called first limit and this is called last limit. This is first limit and this is upper limit, or we can say lower limit and this is upper. Here in 30 to 40, 30 is the lower limit and 40 is the upper limit. Now one more thing you understand. Suppose any student get 30 marks. Now 30 also available in this group and 30 also available in this group, where we have to count that student either in the range of 20 to 30 or in the range of 30 to 40. Here are some mistakes we have done. Understand this concept. When any student get 30 marks, that student count in 30 to 40, not in 20 to 30. Understand? Between 0 to actually 9 marks are count in this. The student who get 10 marks, exactly 10, that must be count in this, in which the 10 come in the upper limit. Understand this thing. Suppose किसी student के 10 marks हैं वो स्टूडेंट 10 से 20 की रेंज में काउंट होगा, ना कि 0 से 10 की रेंज में. सिमिलरली किसी स्टूडेंट के एग्जैक्टली 20 मार्क्स हैं, सो दैट स्टूडेंट काउंट इन 20 to 30, not in 10 to 20 and so on. So just remember these points, we can easily frame the frequency distribution table.
Let us work out an example. The ages of people who participated in a recent survey are listed below. Obtain the frequency distribution table. Solution. We can obtain the frequency distribution table for the given data as shown.
So student, I hope you understand how the distribution table can be formed. So after this topic, after this topic we discuss about the histogram.
So students, I hope you very well understand the double bar graph and the frequency distribution table. How the double bar graph used for the comparing of the two datas, and how the frequency distribution table is used first in the tabular form and then for the intervals. These two are very important topic. After that, in the next video we discuss about the histogram.